Hey everyone, and welcome to today's DeFi Drop, which features Ilgiz, co-founder of Gearbox, the permissionless lending rails for on-chain credit. Welcome, Ilgiz. It's great to have you on.
Thank you, Edward, for inviting us.
Thank you very much for your time, because I know it's very precious. Well, let's kick off then, okay? A bit about yourself, your background, and how and why you founded Gearbox, so we can get a bit of substance before we get into the details.
Yeah, sure, yeah. I have a PhD degree in computer science and math, so spent most of my life building different products, and last more than 10 years spent, 50, I'd say even 15 years spent in financial uh, side and building financial products. So that's how I learned about Bitcoin and Ethereum, and at the end of 2016, fully switched to building on-chain products. So spent some times during ICO mania, checking what happens in the industry. Was very fascinated with cypherpunk idea movement that happened in that days. And yeah, like since 2018, I'd say, working in DeFi space. So in that days, it called open finance. There is no such word like DeFi. So actually, DeFi industry grown up on my eyes. Yeah, and looking at different segments, checking what's happening in the industry. And during DeFi summer, at the beginning of 2021, I've joined to Gearbox protocol. Initially, Gearbox was idea of my another co-founders, Mikhail, who came up with this idea on one of these global hackathons and take one of the winner places there. And after that, he invited me to join the team. And initially, his idea was kind of idea of credit account. Credit account is isolated smart contract that allows to do leverage trading on Uniswap. And after that, we start exploring like, okay, what can be credit account, what kind of use cases it could have, and end up with the idea that actually it's new DeFi primitive for leveraging and borrowing. And yeah, after that, we start building Gearbox. So 5 years from now, uh, more than 4 years of live protocol with zero security incidents. So yeah.
Yeah, your track record is really well known. Obviously, at Portals, we're exposed to a lot of platforms, and I talk regularly with our dev team and with Sahel, who you might know, who's our co founder. And yes, your reputation is fantastic. In fact, when I said Gearbox is coming on the DeFi drop, there were jubilations in the company, put it that way. Everyone was very excited. So, yeah, I'd love to get more into the details now. A lot has changed. You've pivoted somewhat from your original direction and strategy. So I'd love to head off in that direction a bit. First, we can probably set the scene a bit, let's say. So if you had to define on-chain credit rails in simple speak, what's the new primitive Gearbox introduces, and what becomes possible that pooled lending just can't do?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, as I mentioned before, like core primitive of Gearbox is credit account. So it can be considered a smart wallet with a credit in it. So all of us have experience interacting, like having smart wallets, yeah, and interacting in DeFi space. Imagine that your smart wallet have not only your funds but also some borrowed funds, and you'll be able to interact with all DeFi protocols that exist here. That's actually what credit account allows to do. So after each operations, as it holds not only your funds but also borrowed funds, we have post-execution checks. So after each operations, protocol automatically checks that your position is still over collateralized, that assets that you hold inside your credit account is enough to cover debt. So your position over collateralized, while actually you have only 10% of funds covered by yourself. All other funds on credit account is borrowed money. So that's core primitive for Gearbox. And it's very actually cool thing in different from different sides. From first side, it's great from UX perspective because looping on pool-based lendings, it's actually pain in the ass. So you always need to get some flash loan, looping, or do it manually, several iterations. And it's very, very annoying stuff. In Gearbox, imagine you have 10K USDC. You open credit account, put 10K inside your credit account, borrow 90K. And now your credit account holds 100K USDC. And you can go and interact with this 100K USDC, I don't know, trade on Uniswap, provide liquidity to Curve, Convex, hold different assets, actually, yield-bearing assets, for example. And that's it. Very simple scenario from user side, actually very same as we have on TradFi, like called margin account or prime brokerage account, but fully on chain without any kind of uh, uh, manual or human intervention. So it's your wallet with up to extend more funds on it, and you will be able to interact with different DeFi protocols.
So perhaps if we put myself, or let's put ourselves in the position of a power user. I know you've just touched a little bit on that flow now, but what lives inside the account? What does the protocol check? And why does this design have a more wallet native than protocol native approach?
Yeah. Actually, as I mentioned, for leverage and borrow use cases, it's very important to have some good UX. Yeah, it's always a problem. So that's why protocols like Contanga and DeFi arises. Actually, in Gearbox, it's fully natively inside the protocol, and that's only one side. So it's very simplified UX for user. So you will be able one click open 10x position, 10x leverage, one click close it. You will be able hold different non-tokenized positions. So, for example, if you want to leverage convex position, you won't be able on other pool-based lendings because they don't have ERC20 representation. In Gearbox, it's possible because we allow directly interact with any DeFi protocol. And this thing becomes more crucial with tokenization trend because more tokenization protocols come into our space. And tokenization comes actually with different issuer controls, regulator requirements, long redemption periods, which is complicates UX side and actually makes it impossible for borrowing or leveraging on pool-based lendings. Inside credit account, you will be able to interact directly with all of these protocols, and you will be able to implement any issuer controls and regulatory requirements that needed to be able to mint some tokenized assets or redeem it. And at the same time, as you interact directly with these contracts, you'll be able to do leverage strategies because it's always like one-to-one interactions with contract. And another important thing for tokenized asset issuers also, that it's very difficult to maintain liquidity for these assets. They have regulatory constraints, so they can't just, sometimes at least, they can't just put money inside IMMs. It's, from regulator perspective, it's something that difficult to understand old financial guys. So they can't do. In Gearbox, there is no need to DEX liquidity. You can interact directly to mint and redeem through this tokenization platform directly. That's good benefits for asset issuers as well. This is good from UX perspective for user because you don't need to lose money on slippage trading on DEXs. And it's also like you don't need to wait, I don't know, like long period times because you need manually redeem position and you need to do it like 7, 10 times because there is no flash loans for tokenized assets. You can do it in one hop, in direct interactions with tokenization platform. So imagine you have 100K USDC value with some security. On Securitize, you'll be able to call Securitize contracts directly, wait some period, get back your funds inside your credit account, and then repay the debt and withdraw money that you got. That's it. Very simple, fully like traditional TradFi way of doing different margin operations, and very clear from regulator standpoint, from audit side. So yeah.
That's a huge unlock for tokenized assets, what you've just described there. But how does Gearbox actually handle the issuer controls and compliance logic on chain without breaking composability or decentralization?
We don't do it ourselves. So in that case, we allow to interact you directly with tokenization platform. And all of these issuance controls actually happens on tokenization platform side. Yeah. So for example, if they require QIC and have some whitelist, you'll be we as protocol have option to whitelist credit account, because credit account it's your wallet actually. Yeah, so it's one-to-one connections with you. Nobody can get access to this credit account except you. So it's easy for any compliance procedures. And other things, we have automation hooks inside credit accounts that also allow to do different enforcement in case of sanctions or some other things that sometimes happening in TradFi, and tokenization platforms also should follow these rules, and it's possible to implement these hooks inside Gearbox. Of course, like you as user, if you don't want, you can like just don't open this credit account and don't get this things. But overall, like if you wanna get access to this asset class, usually you should get some risk that also comes with this, and yeah.
So to sum up, you've built a solution for the regulations, okay? And the Gearbox model adapts to all these regulations. The user receives the credit and they can deploy directly on the issuer's contract. So pool lending basically cannot achieve this directly. People cannot access flash loans anymore through pooled lending. So you've pivoted in this direction so let's say a hard fork pivot into tokenized asset side, where you deliver the same mechanisms but for RWAs.
Yes. Main problem for pool-based lending actually is that funds are mixing up. Yeah. So, for example, if you borrow against some tokenized collateral and me, at the same time, both you and mine collateral will be inside the same pool. So there is no ways to understand like who this money is. So they always mixing up. That's one of the problems. So for example, if there is some legal enforcement things happening, there is no options to just freeze this pool, because it doesn't hold only mine or yours money. It's different money from different sources. In case of isolation with credit accounts, you can do a lot of similar logic, like whatever regulator actually requires and asks, you'll be able to implement it. So, for example, you can freeze one credit account and that's it, if there is something. Or, for example, I don't know, sometimes people dies, yeah? And for some securities, there is a legal procedure when like inheritance procedures, when like your assets should be like inherited to other guy, yeah? You can't do it in pool-based logic, because you of course, like you can implement something like as additional wrapper, but it's not core for lending protocol. Inside credit account, it's credit account, it's your it's one-to-one connections, and we can segregate your position from all other positions. So that's where like main
Mm,
source, I'd say.
okay. Okay. So on the liquidity side, so let's go one pool, many markets. All right. Why split liquidity from utilization, and how do debt ceilings or isolation prevent one aggressive strategy from, let's say, nuking other lenders?
Uh, I don't see that this part is quite different from other lendings because, like in Gearbox, we have two sides. Yeah, Gearbox is as any lending market actually it has two sides. So first side is passive liquidity, where people just deploy capital to get some passive yield, and second side is borrowers, leverage users who borrow capital, provide some collateral against it, and borrow capital. So this passive pool side in Gearbox works similar to how it works on Aave or on any other lendings. So it's fully permissionless. Anyone will be able to deploy capital to it and get some passive yield. The interesting part starts happening when we look on borrow side. In borrow side, there is this isolation. And actually in borrow side, you provide tokenized assets as collateral. Yeah, you don't provide tokenized asset as to get some extra yield on top of it. It's something different. So you usually provide stable coins to get passive yield, and you provide tokenized asset as collateral to borrow against it. So here, like clear separation.
Great. Thank you, Ilgiz. Thank you. So I want to move now more into the institutional side, curators, etc. Gearbox says it's purpose built for institutions, okay, asset issuers and fintechs with no code markets. What does no code really mean here? And what can a curator configure without writing Solidity, and what still requires engineering?
Mhm. I'd say building lending markets is quite sophisticated work, yeah. And you should know a lot of nuances, so it's very difficult. And even in our space, actually, to be honest, there are like not so many teams who are capable to do that. And that's why we doing like Gearbox as infrastructure so that other institutions will be able to use it to create different lending products. Because lending, I think, will be crucial for institutions. They're already starting deploying capital on chain. So of course, like now we see stablecoin super cycle. Yeah, a lot of people. A lot of institutions launching their stablecoins. Next thing I believe will come that they start launching some vaults, deploying capital, and after that, lending also will be one of the main use cases. Because when you have different assets on chain, you always want borrow against these assets to increase your efficiency. That's how lending markets actually works. It increases efficiency of the market. So I believe that all these institutions that now working on stable coins or their own chains, actually in some times they start looking into lending markets, and building lending markets is quite difficult. And yeah, I think nobody wants to see industry with a lot of hacks, etc., that we've seen before. Yeah, few teams already did this path and built quite sophisticated and quite robust protocols. And Gearbox will also put a lot of efforts in that direction. And we believe that these institutions will use our stack to implement lending protocols for themselves, for their needs. And that's why we moved from vertical structure to permissionless model, where anyone in the industry will be able to launch their own Gearbox market. In that case, they fully own this product. they'll be able to manage risks, what kind of collaterals they want to see, what kind of LTVs, collateral limits these assets that they want to see should have. So actually, they fully will be able to manage all the risk and product side for these markets, while we provide infrastructure that works, yeah, and like battle tested. In that case, there is no any kind of development skills from their side. They we already have very good UI for managing like admin board for lending, so that they can see some big list of different parameters that they capable to manage. They'll be able to decide, okay, what kind of assets, risks they want to see, and using this interface, do everything. We have a lot of, also provide like a lot of monitoring tooling for them, because that's also one of the very important things for any lending market. Also provide liquidation product, yeah, for liquidator, for running liquidator. That's also quite important for lending business. So actually, we provide all the stack. There is no need for development for them. They will be able to just click few buttons. Of course, like it also requires some research from their side to understand like what kind of parameters should be managed. But overall, it doesn't require development skills. So, for example, some team who understand very well on risk side, which I believe institutions are, yeah, they have such teams. So they'll be able to come, check everything, set up correct parameters, and lending market is ready, and they'll be able to provide this service for their clients. No need to have Solidity devs and check everything. Of course, like in long term, if they need some specific integrations with new protocols or something like that, it could ask some development skill. But in that case, Gearbox is still permissionless. Yeah, there is no requirement to go to us and say, Gearbox team, please do adapters for this new protocol. Gearbox is permissionless, so all they need, they can come to any dev shop who has like proven track record building Solidity on Solidity. They can do adapter for this new protocol. Inside our Gearbox protocol, we have special model called bytecode repository, where they will be able to deploy this contract of adapter. And if some auditors that already in our list, which is like tier 1 auditors list, approves that this bytecode of these smart contracts is correct, then they'll be able to do it again, like in several clicks, add these integrations to their market. And that's it. So like no dependency on us, even there is some development work. Yeah. So that's our goal, actually. Our goal that we want to build protocols that works even if we don't continue to work. I guess
I
that's
mean,
important. Yeah.
that's amazing. And also the scalability side. And you've made life so easy for the curators. Let's compare your curator model to Morpho or maybe Aave. Well, what does the curator control on Gearbox? Let's say the parameters, access control, fees, and
Mhm.
and what do they explicitly not control then, like funds or allocations?
They don't have access to funds, yeah. Like we non-custodial protocol, non-custodial product, but they have access to manage all risk parameters, and all risk parameters here include LTVs. This part, I guess, similar with Morpho and Aave. We also have collateral limits for each asset that you onboard. You can specify, for example, you onboard Ethereum, BTC, and some altcoin. You can set up specific collateral limit for each asset, because risk holding 1 billion altcoin. It's not the same as holding 1 billion BTC. Yeah, it's a bit different thing. So you as curator will be able to set up these limits. Also, you as curator will be able to manage specific sizes for credit accounts. So, for example, you don't want to have big credit accounts because it also increases risk. So you can specify that, okay, for me, it's fine. My product is fully focused on retail. So I don't want to see credit account with debt more than 100K USDC. It's fine. You'll be able to do it in couple clicks. And what you don't need to do in comparison with Morpho model, for example, there is no need to do active asset management, because in Morpho model you have isolated pools, and you have vault where curator attracts capital, and then curator always move funds from one pool to another to arbitrage yield, to manage risk, etc. In Gearbox, there is no need to anyhow touch liquidity. So all you do is set up risk parameters. I guess in that model, we're a bit similar with our approach, where you like Aava itself and their curators also like don't touch money flows. Yeah.
So you mentioned not being dependent on DEXs. So let's explain the mint redeem at the issuer flow with credits and why this matters and what failure modes it removes, like slippage, thin liquidity, flash loan fragility.
Okay. Yeah. So let's back to my my example case when I explained about credit account. So you open credit account and you hold there 100K USDC. Only 10K is yours, 90K is borrowed money. So you have this 100K USDC. What's next? Now, for example, you want to deploy these funds to some tokenized vault on some platform. For example, I don't know, Midas, for example. Yeah. In that case, you just do one transaction directly interacting with Midas contracts and deposit 100K USDC to Midas and get back LP token of Midas. That's simple, like one-click transaction. And it's always happening one-to-one mint because it's direct interactions with protocol. Yeah. Now imagine like sometimes later you decided, okay, I want to unwrap my position. So you again come and imagine like in Midas, for example, redemption period is 1 week. So you can't just withdraw in one block your funds from Midas. You should wait 7 days. In that case, you again come to Gearbox. You have 100K worth LP tokens of Midas. You interact with Midas contracts and put your 100K worth money to withdrawal queue on Midas. Inside credit accounts, we now see that you hold 100K in Midas in withdrawal queue. It's not tokenized position. It's just something in smart contracts of Midas. But because of this design of Gearbox, we'll be able to understand that, okay, we still have some interfaces in Midas smart contracts that to see that you hold money inside Midas. So we understand as protocols that, okay, your position is still all collateralized. Everything is fine. Okay, we can wait one week. 7 days later, you come, you see that, okay, now you will be able to withdraw funds from Midas because your withdrawal queue is over. You set up transaction and get back 100k USDC and maybe some yields on top of it back to your credit account. Now, inside credit account, you have like more than 100k USDC. We again see that your position is over collateralized, everything is fine. Then you can continue to do different operations with credit account. So as everything happens inside credit account and in interaction with some other protocols, we as credit account always can see full amount of your position. Similar how, for example, you have some EOA account, you can go to, I don't know, Zerion or any other application and check all your positions you have. Yeah, it's possible because for EOA you can do it. If it's inside some protocol, you can't actually hold these non-tokenized positions. I mean, for pool-based lendings. So it's quite different approach. You always should have something that sit inside the pool. Otherwise, pool can't understand that your position has collateral. That's the problem.
Wow, that's a great walkthrough. So under the hood, how does Gearbox's risk engine track those pending states, like withdrawal queues or redemption delays, without actually exposing users to liquidation risk that or during that waiting period?
Again, like this is done by curator side. So curator, if he want to enable this withdrawal flow, he should onboard special asset class. We call it phantom tokens. Phantom tokens is something that sits inside this withdrawal queue, like a representation. Yes, like if you have like 100k in withdrawal queue, we actually show 100k worth phantom tokens. So it should onboard it, set up some LTVs for it, and that's it. So it works similar to any other ERC20 token.
So those phantom tokens act like placeholders during redemption?
Yes.
Yeah. And how are they dynamic?
What do you mean by dynamic?
Like, for instance, can their value adjust automatically in the underlying asset price, or redemption queue changes before settlement?
It depends. It depends. Okay. Usually, yeah, it price on the price of underlying asset.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So integrations and distribution, the scale. So Gearbox often plugs into protocols like Uniswap, Curve, Pendle. What's the integration bar? For example, like adapters, allow lists, and what's the fastest way for a new protocol to become credit enabled?
Yeah, adapter is quite easy thing, to be honest. So it's just wrapper of some interfaces of some specific contracts of these new protocols. So in case of integrations, of course, like now we do most of integrations by ourselves, but as I mentioned, protocol is permissionless. Yeah. So in theory, protocol itself will be able to build adapter and get audit report or some other interested parties. So for example, some curator or hedge fund together with curator, like they'll be able to implement it and load to bytecode repository of Gearbox, and after that, curator will be able to use this adapter integrations.
Is there an approval process for it, like a verification process before it goes live?
Let me dive a bit into bytecode repository thing. It's quite interesting from technical side. Actually, it creates one new use case for Ethereum itself, because it uses Ethereum as GitHub or storage for code base. So one of the problems, for example, when you deploy a contract, that if your laptop has some malicious software, it will be able to replace something that you deploy to malicious contracts. Yeah, that's one of the problems. And actually, that's how, for example, not how, but similar thing that happened during Bybit hack. So it's very like sophisticated attack vectors, but again, like they still exist. so nobody can be guaranteed. In Gearbox, we remove this risk because we have this bytecode repository. And when you want to deploy new market or something, you just use this bytecode repository. And how it works. Devs deploy code to bytecode repository. After that, independent auditors who audited our code base and know it, they also check that this byte repository code base is the same that they audited. And after that, they do transactions on chain, saying, okay, this is the same, like putting proof by themselves on chain. And if you gather proofs from two auditors in our list, then this code base become available for anyone. So any curator now can use this code base. If not, if auditors don't put these stamps, you can't use it. So that's how it works. So
Wow,
in
that's a cool security model.
Yeah. So in case like if, for example, somebody want to build adapters, they can do it, deploy it to bytecode repository, and then check what kind of list of auditors now supported in our systems. It's, for example, chain security, Mixbytes, some other guys. And they can come to them, say, okay, please check, audit this code base and put your stamps that's this secure adapter. And if they do it, this adapter will be available to anyone who creates markets on Gearbox.
Wow. That's amazing. So once the adapter is verified and live, how fast can it start routing real credit flows? Straight away.
Usually, like creating new market in Gearbox, it's like 3-7 days for curator. So it's also like includes some time logs. So yeah, so 7 days usually is enough to do everything available for end users.
That's cool. Look, I must admit, it's very technical, Gearbox, and you're solving a lot of problems. So for institutions that do need compliance layers, can they still plug in their own KYC or permissioning models, let's say, or modules on top of Gearbox without breaking the permissionless core?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's usually like can be implemented on credit account side. So on credit account side, if they want to have their own KYC process, they'll be able to manage it. And one thing that they should do is after KYC passed, they mint soulbound token to this credit account owner, saying, okay, this user allowed to open credit account in our market. This process was battle tested during 2022. To be honest, it's not a QIC process, but initially when we launched Gearbox, one of the ideas we had, okay, of course, like we don't want to have any kind of bad incidents, so we want to gate somehow access to credit accounts. But how to do it in definitive way. So it was done in a way that people should come and say hi in Discord, saying, okay, I want to open leverage position. And our thoughts here was like, okay, it still creates more print for user, yeah, that potentially creates some complexity for hacker, for some bad person to open credit account, because now he should also have Discord account, it's some fingerprint, some email, etc., which is complicated thing. It's not the same as when you can set up some script, create UA asset, and do hack for some other protocols. So that was initial idea when we implemented it, but now it's fully works for all these scenarios with QIC for institutions. So it's already beta tested and works in a real production system for more than a year. Like 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
Oh man, I get a bit channeled into the technical side of things, but time is getting on. So I probably do need to bring it to a close. It's been fantastic chatting with you, Ilgiz. But we do end these podcasts with a bit of a guessing game, and it's all about the TVL on DeFi Llama. Today's DeFi TVL sits at around 105 billion. Where do you predict this number will be on the 21st of June, 2026? It's a random date, but it's not a random date. It's the summer solstice, so we've chosen that.
200. I remember when DeFi TVL was kind of 600 mil, and
Oh, yeah.
people asking, okay, when 1 billion? So now it's 100x more. So I think we have very good potential to grow more.
Good man. Let's hope so. Well, people like you are making it possible, and your team. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you. We're very lucky, and hopefully meet you one day at a conference or something, or come across your team at some point. It would be great to meet you guys in person. But thank you very much, and hopefully chat soon.
Yeah, thank you for the warm words, and thank you for inviting me.
Thanks a lot, Ilgiz. Thanks. Cheers.